welcome to Academy of Tone 221. Tonight is a very special live stream about the home situation. Most of the guys spend most of their time back home when they are practicing and having fun with their electric guitars. And I'm totally aware that maybe 99% have more. Mic has to be closed. Sorry. Okay, now the sound is good. Before we actually dive into the whole thing, Lukas is on vacation and we have Gunther replacing him, and it's his very, very first live stream. So bear with him in case something goes wrong. And this one is a technically very demanding live stream, since I want to do some A/B testings with a room mic, which was just on. My clip-on mic has to be off. Now the clip-on mic has to be on. This has to be off. The backing track has to be muted, which is not, so have clean signals. We are not cheating. We just try to provide the cleanest and more precise sound, so you actually can hear something. Well, okay, and the other thing before I dive into the topic is I'm gigging this weekend on Saturday in Saarlouis, which is close to Saarbrücken, where I live, at the Vauban-Insel, the island Vauban. If you are familiar with Vauban, he was a French castle maker, and this is a beautiful island in a park. And we play with the Rock Anarchy. David Reedman is guest singer, so as a four-piece band. Guitar, bass, drums, and Gully, the bass player, is also one singer, and David Reedman is the second singer. And of course, Rock Anarchy is always full of surprises, and David is thrown into the cold water. So we don't take any prisoners, we just go on stage and have fun. And next week I'm playing with Alex Bayreuth. I don't know when. You can look it up on my website. Okay. Of course, using the Amp X, because I have to be the beta tester. Today the cable is unplugged and plugged somewhere else. No worries. Okay, back to the topic of tonight, which is the best amps for home and practice. I guess most of the time you hold your guitar in the hand at home. And when we are talking about home, it is different situation, different people. Some people have a big house and they have a party room in the basement, and they can play loud and they can have fun, and the neighbors are not too close. Other people, they have little kids, hysterious wife, and maybe even more hysterical neighbors that always complain about volume. So volume is one of the key factors that I want to address today. In most other episodes, I was focusing on, how good it sounds in the live situation and how much power you need and how much punch and how you feel the guitar with all the volume. And today is kind of the opposite. It's about how much feel and punch and power do you feel at the lowest possible volume. So what are the options? Well, we have a ton of dedicated practice amps. The Spark by Positive Grid, which is one of those very famous ones. The Cube by Boss, then the MG15 by Marshall, a Blackstar tube amp. And I always have some modeling stuff also, which is the Vox Tone Lab here. Then there's a rack mountable Line 6 Pod Pro. And in the back here we can see my full range Yamaha NS10 studio monitor as a passive speaker, and I will later demonstrate that being driven straight by amp 1 with a blue box inserted. So as we can see already here, there are tons of options. And then when it comes to headphones, there's a whole arsenal of headphones. Nobody actually knows which are the best ones. And I have a very simple way of describing which headphones I do like. Well, I like the ones that are more open and not too close, because I get totally scared when I'm like with these Sennheiser, what is HD25? What is the model? HD25, yeah. These headphones are killer when you want to record acoustic guitars and in front of a real microphone like this Neumann here. And then you can crank the backing track and the click track and hammer your head with, and these are so locked and they are so fucking loud, so you can really feel the beat, and it makes you play tight even if you have a bad day. But this is not something that I would recommend for practicing, because in my opinion they are too closed, and I kind of feel weird because it's kind of it feels strange, and it's tiring for me, at least for me. So my taste goes to these Sennheisers, for instance, very old stuff. 400, what's the model? 424. These are super old ones, and they are rather open. And when we compare these two, both are Sennheiser headphones. The HD25s, they have a lot of high end, which is great for the acoustic guitar and the click track, but they make no fun also when it comes to overdrive guitars, because it's too much razor blade, too much fizzy, frizzle top end. So headphones that provide more mid-range are the ones that I think are the best for guitars, and they actually can be super cheap ones as well. Okay, the Marshall ones are okay. At least you have a Marshall product in the house that is cool. Yeah, I'm not the guy that practices with headphones. I'm lucky that I can have an amp at low volume. But honestly, the most time when I practice at home, when I even have the time to practice, and I spend some time with my guitar, I play with nothing, just my electric guitar. And it's a good thing to show you. I have my stupid mobile phone, and I can play the song with the speaker here, full volume. Okay, maybe this is even too loud, the backing track compared to a guitar with no amp at all. The benefit of playing no amp at all is you actually can hear what you're doing without any artificial sustain and things like that, and you can work on your right hand, your picking hand. Okay, there's a quality for doing that. And I would recommend actually to do this once in a while. I totally get it that it's can be boring after a while because you have like no sustain. If I go, where's my note? Even the 61 Strat has no sustain after a second. But as I said before, it's good to practice without an amp because then you actually really know what the guitar is doing. So on the next level, if you engage an amp, if you use an amp, you can go for different options. And let's skip the headphones for the first part of this episode so we can see what are the situations that we can use with a speaker, what kind of speaker, and what can we use for it. Assuming that we have bedroom volume, which means like talking volume, it's a reference point because at this kind of volume most of your neighbors will still be okay, even though electric guitar can pretty offensive. I mean, the frequencies that you create with them, you know, that screaming and all that stuff. If you are not into the electric guitar, it can be pretty annoying. And this is a thing you have to bear in mind because you get excited on the guitar, but your neighbors, the more excited you get, the more annoyed they get. So be aware of that kind of thing. And now let's see what we can do with something that is designed to be a practice amp. I'm simply plugging in such a thing here, which is the Positive Grid Spark. This, I don't know, is this 3-inch, 4-inch speaker. It's supposed to be stereo. So now to make a real comparison, I will switch over to this room mic, and this will go and my clip-on mic will be switched off, room mic on. And is it working? Okay. So, and by the way, just so you get used to that sound, this is a Neumann TLM, what is it, 179 or something, a serious condenser mic. Okay, so I'm talking here, and this is, first maybe to get used to the sound in the room is the dry guitar. Okay, so it sounds, you hear the click click of the pick and the strings. Okay, now when I plug in such an amp, I have a bunch of tones available here. Acoustic guitar, bass. Wait a minute, the camera, can we? So let's see. So this says acoustic, then there's bass. Okay, I'm not a bass guitar player. Then there is clean, there is, what is it, classy, crunch, high gain, and metal. Let me show you some of the tones. Of course, bass is bullshit for guitar. And we have some effects, which is kind of nice. So next, this was acoustic, sorry. Bass is a... Okay, forget about this. Clean is the first one that might be good for us. A little bit more volume should be possible. So having effects is something nice. Let's switch off the reverb. We can hear there's some delay. The delay has a knob as well. And now it's dry. So first impression is it sounds good. Hey guys, well, I try to make this like this. Is this camera showing? And I have another idea. Maybe we can move this stuff over here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Or I can even move the whole thing over there to the, if the cable is long enough. Here, this is the next point. It uses kind of a laptop power adapter. And it has one of those cheesy plugs for the power. Let's try this one. Is this any good? Any better? Plug in the power. So, positive grid, and this is the speaker. Okay, we are losing the sound now, which is a bit bizarre, but there's one thing I can hear. It's like stereo and spacey. That's something. That's actually something that I kind of like, but the moment I take away all these magic effects, I'm getting a pretty boring clean tone. So for me, the magic with this fellow here is, yeah, let's show the sound again. Digital product, I personally can feel the latency, maybe you not. Different discussion. Let's listen to the next sound, which is glassy. Well, Vox AC30 style sound. Me personally, I miss the glass. So it says glassy, but you know, I love sparkle. I will show you some sparkle later with the amp 1, but here there is no sparkle. It's just, it says glassy, but it's not glassy. Let's check the next one, crunch. To me, way too honky. I put the bass all the way up. And the mids kind of, I put it to 0 to make it, and treble. Honestly, crunch, not my cup of tea on this amp. Next one, high gain. Now we are talking, okay? That's the sound. To me, that's the first sound that makes me smile in a way that I have more fun playing the guitar with an amp than without an amp. Okay, there's a gate. Yeah, it's not dynamic, so but it's sustain is fun, and now the effects come into place and they do a good thing. High gain is fun, okay. This is gain all the way up.
Du bist mit den M viel zu laut und die Stimme hört man nicht.
Ah, okay. So I have to reduce the volume of the amp and talk louder. I try to make this amp shine. Okay, let's get closer. So my voice is shining as well. Okay, so this is Spark at more highest gain and yeah, my favorite sound, high gain. Metal, let's check it out because I'm not a metal guy, but for fun. Well, let's say it's good. My personal opinion, high gain is fun and clean is okay. The effects are nice. And that's about what I like. Anyway, you might have another opinion. I know the Positive Grid guys tried to make a very good modeling back in the days. They had this kind of toaster thing similar to a Kemper when they did it, whatever, 15 years ago. And they decided to go down this way with more affordable amps. And honestly, the quality that I hear here is making more sense in that way. But this is my personal opinion, okay? Maybe some people rave about this thing and believe it's the best practice amp. At least it got one or two sounds, and for me that's the most important thing. If you have nothing that excites you, whatever it is, if you have a different taste, if you find a different tone here, and it's in sync with what you are doing, it's all good. Don't worry. But make sure you find something that excites you, that gives you a spark. No? This is the name of the product. So you should be inspired by that spark. And for me, the high gain sound is what is fun for me. All the rest with all the features, maybe not. It's comes afterwards, but no tone, no need. Okay, I'm a little bit brutal here. Let's check this fellow here. Maybe this is the next problem, is the power supply. Let me try to be fair. I will unplug. So this is a Cube Street 2. First thing about this, it's plastic, it's very lightweight, and it has a battery compartment for the standard little batteries here. So you could live with 8 batteries and do a little garden concert or have a little fun where you find no power at all. So that's something, yeah, that's a feature. Who knows where you like to practice, and maybe this is the best thing in some whatever cave or special place where you want to go. These speakers, I can see they have this, it's not tweeters, but it's like they have this extra membrane in the middle that enhances the high end. Maybe you can see from the side view. Yeah, the side view. Hard to see. Hard to see. Yeah, it shimmers through. So there's no specific tweeter, which I actually kind of like. Guitar mic input. Let's plug it in here. So, and then this is the... So, that is the first sound of this amp. Let me see what it is. Lead. Okay. Maybe we can see some of the stuff written here. A guitar, acoustic guitar. Normal, bright, white. Then instrument, whatever this was, maybe a standard multifunctional instrument. It's all, yeah. Then amps, we have a clean amp. For the electric guitar, we have a crunch amp, a lead amp, an acoustic sim, which means I can make my electric guitar sound like an acoustic guitar. And then there's a mic setting. So it's a pretty versatile thing. Let's simply hear a few sounds. Let me start with, we don't need the acoustic guitar. We go for the clean first. Okay. Boss, Roland, Jazz Chorus is probably the famous reference. Oops, this is super boring to me. What is going on here? Clean? It's just clean, but it's like bass, middle, treble, gain. Now we are talking. This is a sound that I like. Okay. Clean as I like it. Well, it's funny, without the gain it sounded so dull. Yeah. Okay, it needs some gain. Nice discovery. Crunch. Okay, let's check out this sound. Okay, at least I like it better than the crunch on the Spark. Okay, let's dial more gain in, adjust the volume, and see if it comes more alive. Okay, I hear the gain. I need more volume. Okay, I mean, the effects are not outstanding, but I accept that crunch. I can hear my guitar, I can hear a crunch tone. It's not boutique, but it does a crunch. I can play some AC/DC with that easily. sure, because I kind of am okay with the Strat. Let's see if the Strat is the only guitar sounding good, or if any guitar is sounding good. Hey, it's okay. Okay, next sound, lead. And I leave with higher gain because more gain sounds better on the Boss to my ears. Sounds very similar, and this is a sign that the modeling is kind of the same amp with just more gain. But good. Okay. And what's the next? Oh, then acoustic sim. I think that's probably a weird thing. Making some acoustic sounds with your electric guitar. Yeah, who needs it? Yeah, that's this beautiful, very versatile product. Up to you guys. In my opinion, fewer sounds, but fewer sounds for the electric guitar, more options in general, with like microphone input and an EQ for that. Definitely a cool product. There's nothing I would complain about this one. By the way, this is my mobile phone and I can see your chat comments here. It's Uwe Johann. The Boss Cube is for the buskers on the street. Seen a lot. Yeah, and I can understand why. Yeah. Okay. What else is... So, let's simply check the next candidate. MG15 by Marshall. And Marshall, yeah. Let's see what this fellow can do. Oops, no sound at all. Why? Oh. So this is overdrive 2. I have a bit more distance to the microphone now, so I can increase the volume. I hope you don't die. Is that okay? My voice. Cleans up, something not too bad. There's one thing, I cranked now the bass. You heard all the mids and the treble. I have a lot of bass which I would never use with such an amp when I crank it and make it loud. But for a bedroom volume situation, it's probably good to have more bass because that moves some air and that makes you feel better. Cool. So this is overdrive 2, overdrive 1. Okay, Marshall sound number 2. Okay, let's check for what clean. Well, the reverb is a bit, let's see. Okay, that's spring reverb. And that's kind of a hall. Okay, it's not my personal favorite, but we have 2 reverbs. Maybe I go for the spring. Yeah, I like that. And crunch. Oh, sorry, this one hurts. There's some not so nice chorus on it. Yeah, that's for me personally not rich enough. It's I kind of connect to the more overdriven side of the amp when it's that hard rock, yeah, overdrive 1 and 2. The clean is okay. Yeah, that's a typical practice amp that you get when you are at a music school. Ah, by the way, these amps came from Andreas Usner, friend of mine who does a little bit for BluGuitar here and there, helps out, and he had a few people that some of his students gave the amps to him, the Spark and the Valvetronic, which is the pedal here coming from Thorsten Wacker, is a student of Andreas Usner. And the Blackstar, which is coming next, and the Boss are from Pascal Bogner. Well, Bogner, great amp brand. But we are talking about the Blackstar and the Boss that we just heard. And these are students from Georgi Meyer. He was here at the Academy of Tone. Oh, I don't know the number. For the Germans, he what's the guy from Trier? Our famous. I played with him. Fucking hell, my name Schlager hören. Lass mich Schlager hören. Gildo Horn. Okay, so exactly. So Georgie Meyer plays with Gildo Horn in his band, and these two amps come from one of his students, Pascal Buchner. Yeah, and the Marshall that we just played is from Andreas himself. Okay, I understand why he chose that amp, because makes sense. Let's check out our next candidate, which is the Blackstar. And I'll probably move my Yamaha cabinet over to here. By the way, I have no clue if NS10s, these are NS10s, are any sought after today and cost money, or if they are just cheap and crappy studio monitors. But these were the standard back in the days when I was active session guitar player. These cabinets had the mid-range, and I like them. I still like them because they kind of put the guitar in front of the mix, and it's a nice feeling when you play through this kind of monitor. Yeah, maybe they are outdated and cheap. What is the price for these? Oh, 450 euros these days. Again, something that is more expensive now than it was when I bought it. Yeah, most of the old stuff that I bought went up in price. I don't know what it is. Well, it's a standard. But that's okay. Let's listen to the Blackstar. This was my next candidate. Switch off the MG4T15 and plug into the Blackstar, which has a standby. So this is a tube amp. I assume 15 watts. It has a clean channel and it has an overdrive channel with gain and master. There is one tone control for the clean channel, and then there's like an overall EQ, I guess, and maybe a spring reverb or there's a reverb. It's a digital reverb, I guess. So let's have a listen. For me, there's more tone. There's even more tone compared to anything of the other amps that I heard before. I feel it maybe more than you can hear it. It's probably a weird situation with the microphone in the middle somewhere and this is facing towards, and it's hard to judge. But this amp makes me play the guitar like a tube amp, and I guess it's a tube amp. I actually have to look, but it... Okay, anyway, for me, it feels like a real amp and it makes me play real. And that's probably my point. If you have a practice amp, you have to have something to connect to. And even at bedroom volume, oops, I can feel the difference between amps. And I can feel the difference between the cheaper modeling stuff and this amp. Let's have a look. I have just grabbed them and I didn't have any particular investigation on what they are. HT5. So this is, it's heavy. Oops. Yeah, I think transformers, hard to see. But this must be a tube amp. Okay, and they are famous. So, yeah, there goes your 5-watt tube amp, and for me, I can feel the difference even at this kind of low volume. Nice. What about, this is the HT5 by Blackstar. Okay, talking about tube amps, let's simply put it on the floor because now it has a different sound. So it's hidden behind my leg, but this is, yeah. Okay, let's check the clean channel. Oh, way too loud. But this, yeah, it's a tube tone. I can feel it. I can hear it. Makes me happy. Okay, let's have a little philosophy before we go into more amps. I switch back to my regular clip-on mics because maybe then it's easier for you guys to listen. Are you ready? This one. Can you hear me? Aha. So these are clip-on mics, probably pretty good ones. I think they are Sennheisers, and they sound good. Sorry for just a room mic, which makes it kind of hard to sometimes hard to, when I turn my head towards the amps, you don't hear anything. With a clip-on mic, it's much better. So my point is, a tube amp is something that feels different, and for me, having fun has something to do with that quality. It's not the amount of effects, it's not, if there is one sound that excites you, it's good. You need to have something exciting. I used to have a Marshall, a small, whatever, 2 watts, forgot about what it was, modeling amp with some reverb and battery power, and I thought this is a cool thing, and I took this for my holidays and played on wherever, on the beach, and guess what? I gave it away. After 2 years, the thrill is gone. So for me, it doesn't make any sense to have an amp that is not giving me the touch, the tone, because that's not giving me the pleasure. And this is my personal opinion. For me, if the tone is right, I feel inspired and I play better, I play more, and I play real. And if I have an amp that is just creating something, it's okay if you're a beginner, but maybe even if you are a beginner, you don't learn how to work the tone, how to feel it, what is really the difference here. And yeah, I'm the purist that rather plays no amp or a tube amp. Honestly, at home I don't play much with an amp, but I do with, of course, amp 1, because that's what's sitting at home. It's small, it's convenient. I use a nano cap at home, and that's a nice combination. I will show you in a minute. The other way you could also go is you have one of those Fender, whatever, Princetons as a pedal platform, and combine this with very good pedals. But honestly, a very good pedal needs to have tons of dynamic to be exciting. I'm personally the fan of amp overdrive enhanced with a pedal, you know, with a little bit more juice from a booster, with a little whatever, you know. Look at my huge collection of BSM boosters here. This is just the booster corner. Yeah, up there, all kind of pedals, but I'm having mainly the amp doing the work. I want my amp to create the character and enhance this with pedals. That's what's exciting me. But I totally get it if you are this kind of Fender pedal platform guy. You have a clean amp that has the dynamic, that has the richness. And if you have dynamic pedals, which there are a few of, and this combination also gets you to exciting results. I'm not saying that the rest is not good, no, but it's, for me, it's about being excited, because if you want to practice, there is tons of things like muscle memory, and you can try to whatever do repeat things or work on your right hand. But do you really need an amp for doing that? I mean, any volume can do, and even having no amp gives you more control. So, if I want anything more than that, I want an amp that gets me character. Okay, there are lots more options. Let's see. The modelers, I'm not so keen on most of them. Maybe let's see if I can get the tone work to work, but this is like, no, we should do this afterwards, because these, what, like the Tone Lab, is not driving a speaker. So far we had speaker in the room. This only drives direct into a full range cabinet or your stereo system at home, or whatever you have to make any music louder. Full range system, hi-fi system. And before we go into this, let me show you what you can do with amp 1. And therefore, the amp 1 that sounds so good when we go direct, which we... my guitar is not plugged in. this is the guitar cable. Wow. And where is my other end? Sorry. Just because I see it here. Power attenuator. And one of those vintage amps behind me could be another option, but honestly, of course, if you have such an amp, a Marshall and a power attenuator in the living room, yeah, you can do it. If you want to go all the way, get a Fryette power station, then you can have a reactive load, one of the best ones from Fryette, combined with an all-tube power amp that you can then adjust the volume to bedroom volume. But it's a good sound. It's a good sound. On the other hand, it's like consuming 500 watts because the tube amp, your 100 watt Marshall, creates a lot of heat. And I mean, this is now summertime here in Germany, and you don't want any more heat than what we just actually have right now. And then how many tubes will you torture because you want the saturation from your tube amp with that kind of setup? And just to use that at home for practicing is very luxurious. Of course, you can go for that, but it's probably a little bit over the top, in my opinion. But hey, if this is what makes you practice or makes you happy, then go for it, because in the end it's all about having fun with the instrument. And you should be a bit selfish about that. And people that complain about the electric guitar, they should probably talk to a classical trumpet player that does the Bach etude. That's probably way more annoying than playing a few nice jazz chords or some AC/DC at bedroom volume. But some people some people seem to forget about reality. If you are making music, you have to make some noise, because music is noise. And that can be a real torture, especially if you're not good at the instrument and you try to play some violin and you have no tone. But okay, let's go back. This is the sound straight into the full range system that you are hearing now. Okay? I think that's a quality sound with dynamic, and I can have this very nicely, and of course I can reduce that volume. Amp 1, no power soak, just lower master volume is like this. Okay, so master at 1, and the sound is rich like a cranked tube amp on the modern channel when I go here, or like even on the vintage channel, like. So you can see it's really down, but this is going direct and as puristic as possible. Now we go back for that funky room mic, the Neumann, and I'll have our cabinets, which are the Nano Cab. Well, now somewhere hidden on the floor. Let me show you. Let's get rid of the Les Paul for a second. Can the camera show it or forget it? No. Okay, let me show it to you. So here I have a little cap switcher that goes from nano cap to fat cap, and the twin cap is not here, but therefore I have my NS10 later on, and this is the nano cap. Try to get it out of the corner. Nano cap, okay. And I just put it back on the floor. So this is what I will use. It's a bit weird here with all the stools and and yeah, Gunther, you are magic. He found a little spot between everything, and the camera is getting out of focus from nowhere. Maybe from I can get rid of the stool here. Come on. Yeah. So maybe that helps. And you know what? I can also get rid of the spark, because then I have more room to move. And the cube, because we talked about the cube as well. So let's switch. So this is all direct. As good as it gets. And now I flip the switch here. You have to mute the clip-on mic, and I'm going back to the room mic. Room mic on. Room mic on. Hello. Check, check, check. Okay, so. And now this is how my studio monitors sound in the room. Maybe it sounds good, maybe I have no idea, because now I have no control anymore. So that's the same thing, but the monitors come from behind the microphone, which is the wrong side. Okay, the mic is here and the monitors are on the other side, on the wrong side of the microphone. Therefore it sounds probably pretty wishy-washy, I assume. I will hear the stream afterwards and have fun. But anyway, okay, all good. So now you know how I feel when I play the songs. Anyway, I will switch to the cabinets in the room. It's too loud. Okay, I go down to 1. Yeah, and I can actually talk over the whole thing, so you can see this is real bedroom volume. It's as low as it needs to be. And now I can go for other channels, and I can go even lower on volume. So classic channel at 3. Yeah, and I can talk over that sound. And the good thing that I can hear, and you probably can hear it too, there is no fizziness. That whole sound is totally warm, direct, feels great, and it's a tone. And even at bedroom volume, it's a tone. It is nearly, it's not as good as on stage volume, but I'm not changing too much of the character. I mean, just modern channel. can hear how these are the strings. So now I crank the volume on the guitar. So you see how low I am. I can go even lower. So this is... So no sound from the amp, 0, 1. Bit more. More volume. More volume. So what I try to show is the sound is always balanced with a nano cap at any volume, and it doesn't change. It doesn't get fizzy, it doesn't get thin when I'm at low volume. It just sounds right. And now let's compare this to the fat cap. Just one more time, the nano cap. Now over to the fat cap. Well, this next, behind the Marshall cabinet, it's here. And one more time back to the nano cap. Same thing. This cabinet sounds rich and full and does the same thing even on clean at this low volume. Okay, so this is what you get with an amp one and a BluGuitar cabinet. There are some other cabinets that also sound great. For home use, I can recommend the good old Greenback speaker. One 12-inch speaker sounds killer at home. Very elegant sound. Try to get a UK made one, not the new Chinese made ones. But for home they are totally fine. On stage I also love them, but I killed at least 4 of them because they only handle 25 watts and then they start to smell and then they start to die. BluGuitar speakers have at least 2.5 times the power of a Greenback, and that's safer. But for home, a Greenback is a very good choice. Yeah, anyway, let me read some of the chats here. Let me see if I can see what's going on. Dirk Pfeiffer, die M1 klingt so real. Ich kann es kaum erwarten, den MX zu hören. Ja, you will soon. Okay, Uwe Johann, I absolutely love the Fat Cap. Use it live, best sound in size and weight, masterpiece. Thanks. Yeah, it's also again, but for home, actually, the Nano Cap is also a killer choice. Okay, Jason, Daniel Stone. When I can wait to get a amp1. Okay, yeah. Can I make loud sounds only with my voice when I put my fingers held the cheese for dinner? Oh, okay. Give him a rotor. I don't get it. Yeah, it's hard for me to follow so many comments on such a small display in such a short time. Okay. Now comes the point where we can see if that magic power soak that people always talk about on the amp1 is such a bonus or if it's not needed. My personal opinion is I do it without the power soak because the channels in the amp1 already are so rich at any volume. I'm not missing anything. And I think I mentioned this the last episode. The vintage channel has already sucking functionality which you only get with cranked tube amps. And this is what we love about vintage amps because the vintage amps, they have zagging, they are responsive, they have a certain sponginess. And this is already happening in the vintage channel. Let me show you again. Just for fun, back to the Nano Cap. And now, vintage channel. There's compression. I'm not touching the volume, so see what I do. Where's the camera? The mic is in the way. Let's try and move here. So. To me, there's so much little details happening and it's exciting. And this is tube tone. And this is what vintage channel. Anyway, it gets me excited every time I play it again and again and again. Back to our one control and the power soak function on the amp1. As we could see, the master on amp1 is on 1. So there is no master or power amp zagging things. This, what we heard right now, is only coming from the preamp. Okay, let me check in, plug in the one control, and let's dial everything on full, and then we have our clean sound. Maybe we leave it for the clean sound and then reduce the power soak to minimum. Okay, now I crank the master. 5. You can see how much the reverb is now blooming because it's power amp saturation here. Okay, you can hear this is what happens when you crank a tube amp. And I can crank it even more. Let's make it up to 10. Less reverb, probably. But to me, that is not the nicest sound. I like the sweet spot here, 5, 6, 7-ish. And then have a bit more gain, use the boost in the clean channel. So this is totally authentic what you get from an overdriven power amp section. And of course it's a nice spice, and I can have my vintage channel and spice it up with some power amp saturation like this. So we are at bedroom volume, and this is like minimum, which is 150 milliwatts. So as low as you can go. Yeah. But honestly, that's a cool sound. Let's try to get rid of the one control. Dip. Okay, now I'm against my own business. And oh, sorry, don't crank it, and go back to master volume 1. Of course I need more reverb now because that was splashing. And spice it up with a little gain boost in front. So what I'm saying is I can get a good sound that is as responsive or nearly as responsive as my power amp saturation with a vintage channel when I have a little bit extra gain coming from the boost. I have to admit it's not the same thing, but what I'm trying to say is with a vintage channel being that dynamic, taking a boost very well, you get a great tone too. Not exactly the same thing, and this is why we do have the power soak function, but it is possible. And it's already there, and if you are an amp-1 player, you don't have to buy nothing because it's all there. You just have to understand that you already arrived. There is nothing you need. You don't need a full tube amp and a power soak and whatnot. It's all in your amp-1 and it's basically there. So there are a few rules that I would like to give you for that bedroom volume playing. One of them is more bass. If you crank the bass, nobody will complain, and at this super low volume, it's giving you a bit more punch. It makes the tone fuller, and it helps to move the speaker a little bit more. I'm talking about very, very low volume. I mean, if you already have like party volume, that kind of bass is annoying for the neighbors. But if you play that bedroom volume, more bass, the lower, the more bass, and a bit more gain is not an issue. You can be the master of the tone when you play in front of a crowd with less gain. I've done this with puristic amps like this non-master volume and a 4x12. It is possible. Of course, you have to work the tone, but you can rehearse that or you can practice that with an amp-1 or with something like a good tube amp like the Blackstar HT5 or anything like that, in my opinion. For me, it is so important to talk about the feel. Wait, I think I go back for the clip-on mic, right? Pentatone. Hello. Hello again? Aha, okay. So, more bass, the lower the volume. What is the feel? Do you feel the strings? Do you feel the connection with the guitar? For me, so important. And if I have an exciting tone that gives me some dynamic, some like overtones that I can control with my pick, that's what I need. And if my amp just makes a noise, at least I cannot practice my things, my style. I rather than play no amp, or I play different things, which is not me. So you have to find something that makes you happy and is connecting to your style. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. Because when you go back to the real life, where you play your real rig, you will discover that it feels so different that you don't get there. And that's weird. And then you have to start from scratch. So therefore, I would recommend to have an amp that is as good as the one that you're gigging with, or it's the amp that you're gigging with, like in my case, the amp-1. Reverb adds dimension, and it's now on 8. And there's nothing wrong with it, having it set high, because if your living room is filled with carpet and sofa and whatnot, it's super dry. And if the sound of the room is super dry, you don't enjoy the guitar playing so much. I mean, this is why people sing in the shower or play in the subway stations. And then the question is, how many different sounds do you actually need? I think if you buy something that gives you a clean sound, that inspires you, a crunch sound, and maybe a heavy sound, like 3 categories of gain, you're good to go. And you don't need 999 sounds that are equally shit. So if you have 3 good ones, it's probably better than having 50 so-so ones, because you will make more music with exciting sounds than with sounds that excite you for a few seconds and then nothing happens anymore. If there is a foot switch option, it can be cool if you want to jam with a backing track. To have some phones is cool if you really have to go totally quiet. And yeah, now we can talk how to practice with the backing track with the amp 1, which is also funny because I could simply use a guitar speaker as well. I know it's not FRFR, full range flat response, but you know, it works. This is my bloody cell phone. Where is it? Here. And let's simply try it. There's my backing track. I plug it in here, and I plug it back into the effects loop of the amp 1, effects return. I put it on parallel. That's important. And now we hear nothing because we hear nothing. This cable goes into here. That's weird, because it should make some sound. Ah, yes. Oh, don't do that. Let me check the amp first. Guitar speaker. The volume knob is magic. Yeah, we have muted the room mic. We are back on the set. So there's my amp. And this could be some backing track. But there's no sound. I tried it earlier and it did work. Why is there no sound? Ah, maybe not. I know why. Because I switched off the effects loop. Let me do this. I could do a reset, but I'm not doing that now. I'm just doing this here. Where is it? I was using the remote before and I switched it off. So if you have an amp 1, there is an effects loop that worked. I simply went back for the effects loop on. And let's start from the beginning. Mind that we are going now through a speaker simulation, which is a guitar speaker. So we are not hi-fi anymore, but this is what it sounds like. Okay. It doesn't sound killer, but it works. Very simple thing. See, phones out into effects return, parallel, and there's your sound. Okay? It's even mono, I know, but it's something you can do. Costs nothing. You have that adapter anyway, I assume. Okay, the next thing that many people wish these days is, can I have the blue box and all the different blue boxes sounds on a full range system like we have now, going straight into, you know, the mixer, into the full range system. Yeah, so this is what you get straight from the blue box. And now you want to have that same experience with a full range speaker at home. I think that topic full range speaker these days is overhyped, and I have heard a few of these active monitors. It's a trend. I'm personally not convinced yet. There's a few more acceptable ones to my taste, but let me show you what happens if I have my good old NS10s, which is a mid-rangey speaker from the studio, full range flat response with a mid-hump, which is very pleasant for the guitar. If I compare this to like my real guitar speakers, I have to go back for the room mic again. Sorry guys, so this is the room sound and this one is now cut, right? Okay, so and I switch back for guitar speaker. Okay, this is was it fat cap or nano cap? Ah, this was nano cap, by the way. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is just a guitar speaker. Okay, and while playing, I will switch from the nano cap to the NS10. Okay. This is NS10 and this is nano cap. That's fat cap. To me, the guitar speakers have so much more efficiency. And that's something that I actually also feel. Maybe you don't hear it, but it's something you can feel. So what I can do now is I can show you what happens when I have a blue box. Therefore I have a second blue box here. This, and I will put this into the effects loop of the amp1. So I switch it to serial because I want the full signal going through the blue box, and then I will kind of filter the sound of the amp1 for, let's put in the nano cap and put it onto the Yamaha NS10. You can see I have to crank the amp a lot more. I was always at 1, and then it was already like turn down the amp because my voice is too low. I'm already at 2. So, this would be my choice for such a setup, full range at low volume. And when I have checked some of these Line 6 modeling, they even have built-in IRs, I found that they are sounding wishy-washy. They offered all these different speaker models, but the sound was wishy-washy. I couldn't hear. I know the speakers we are talking about. I can read the name and I can hear the character, but it didn't translate to what I was expecting. So maybe I'm too much a snob and purist here, but I'm not getting the feeling that I want. And probably that's why a lot of camper users have a standard guitar combo with a regular guitar speaker somewhere on stage to have a feeling. Maybe it sounds killer on the PA, but it feels weird. And some of my friends, like Ali Neander, who is also playing Amp1 and camper and whatnot, he told me that he has to do stuff like that sometimes just to feel the guitar better. And that moment, you don't have the different speaker emulations anymore because you have only one real guitar speaker. And this NS10 with the emulation, to me, is already very much in favor of the guitar frequencies, not being too wishy-washy, focusing on the mids. And this is what this does. It works pretty fine. So it's another option if you have an Amp1, if you have a Blue box, and if you have some old passive hi-fi speaker at home, you can give it a try. But the more boomy it is, the more bass and treble you have, and where there is no mids, where the mids are, this is where the guitar lives. You will not have any fun. But hey, maybe there's some old speakers, some of those old hi-fi speakers, they had mids. I mean, maybe your dad or granddad has some nice GBL studio monitors, and you probably have this already sitting at home, and then you can enjoy such a setup. So anyway, these are a few options we can have. I'm having the Valvetronic modeler here, but I mean it only would work if I would go direct into the system. I'm not sure. Let's read the comment if you want to hear that. Where's my other phone for the comments? Okay. So this was my backing track phone, and there's another. There's another phone. Okay. So guys, where's the latest one? Mercury sounds a little tighter. Have you thought about trying to design like an ADM sleeve from Orange Set the preamp around JFET so it behaves like tube and then go into a PWM Class D for some kind of new project? Normik, sorry, this is 1970s thinking. There is nothing wrong about having JFET, but I think that's first level engineering. I switch back to my regular mic. Sorry. Hello. Yeah. So this kind of approach seems to be super modern, but it's so basic and, in my opinion, not really at the level where we are working. What they are doing is they use a FAT transistor that is more like a tube to do what a tube does, but it's not a tube and it's not exactly doing what a tube is doing. And then by just simply having some of these transistors combined and putting this into a Class D power amp, which just makes that noise louder, is not what we are doing. We are actually doing every little bit that happens in a tube amp in every stage. And we are not interested in just one stage, we are interested in the full signal chain, including the power amp stage. And I repeat myself 100 times, we just listen to what happens when we crank our power amp. And this is not what you get when you crank a Class D power amp, because it will be louder and then it will sound ugly. And what we are so proud of, or what I'm so proud of, is that we achieved to use this kind of new technology and combine this with analog circuitries to really get what is happening on tube amps. And this to me is a very nice approach to it, but I have been there 20 years ago. No? So this is already, it's for me it's boring, because it's so basic approach what they have done, and that's all there is. Okay. Yeah, pure transistor distortion, awful. Okay, this is all. A transistor alone is not everything. There is a beauty in transistors and there is a beauty in tubes, and it needs to be the combination of a circuitry of all the components and of many stages. People that have a stage that is like only one stage that is doing everything, it's a boring, undynamic signal. And this is what I hear sometimes in cheap modeling, not good modeling. Cheap modeling is having only one clip stage with a pre-EQ, post-EQ, and then maybe a very undynamic and hard clip, and then they do every sound with it, and it sounds horrible. So that's my opinion. Okay. Let me check if there are actually other comments here. Yeah, okay. There's so many comments of things what people have done. Somebody is using the radar, not the blue box. Well, all good. And any there are well, the quality of the cap simulation depends on the quality of your IRs, and it also depends if you have a little bit of dynamic going on. And the blue box does it with a very simple analog circuitry that makes it more alive. Other products like the 2Notes, they have modeled the power amp saturation kind of thing and sagging and or drive in a way. Otherwise, the IRs would sound too boring. This is, if you know how to make a good sounding IR, that's the first step. And if you know how to make that sound a little bit more dynamic, the more traditional sounds you are after, the better you get there. On the other hand, I'm talking to people using the blue box, and they go like, you know what? I plug in, I dial in the tone, I'm happy. And some people just tell me I'm the fan of the Stack 1980. The next guy says, like myself, 1970. Yesterday I had somebody on the phone that said, if I'm in the Fender territory, I go for the 410. And yeah, it's an easy way, but there are options, no problem. So what else do we have as comments here? Patrick Barge: kann mich nicht entscheiden, welchen Amp One ich mir holen soll, aber mit dem Nano Cap. Okay, Patrick Barge, he cannot decide on which Amp One he likes better. You should watch the episodes that I have done just recently on the test weeks. I think we have done a clip where I tried to show you the differences, and in the end the best thing is you simply play both. You will feel it immediately, and it's like they're both great, of course, but plug it in, play it. Hey, and by the way, if you are not sure and you don't have a dealer around the corner, we do our direct sales, and you have 30 days money back guarantee. So you simply order it, and then you guess this one or the other one, and then you know it. So that's an option how to deal with that. Yeah, I see comments. Blue box into DAW direct works fine. Yeah, I just recorded a full album with my Mercury blue box. It's coming out in November. We are going on tour with many songs, some new instrumentals together with Ben Grenfeld. He composed a lot, I composed a lot, and we composed some together, and yeah. HDO, I use an active 12-inch PA speaker LD systems for the backing tracks, plus a fat cap for the guitar. Wow. I mean, sure, but this is not bedroom volume. 12-inch PA speaker is serious volume. But enjoy. I mean, if you have that kind of nice neighbors, and yeah. Here, Blue Box is a great tool, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Seitenschuft. Sound examples to decide which amp to go with. Yeah, at the beginning of episode 218. And there is, yeah, watch these sound episodes because you get a feel for what you hear from which amps. There are in both episodes 218 and I think 219 even, or was it 217, we had a bunch of sound clips that showed the different amps, also with different players. And then you see it's the Iridium or Mercury. That's two episodes to watch. Okay, let me go back in the comments. Okay, I must say the people are so crazy for the one control. I wasn't happy with it. Oh, Thomas helped me to get my favorite sound. Yeah, I remember this was the guy that wanted a special clean sound and couldn't get it with a clean channel, which is kind of yeah. And I showed also in this one episode 218 probably. He had the clean sound achieved on the vintage channel with a pretty low gain setting. This was talking humbucker guitars, and I could achieve almost the same sound, or maybe almost identical sound, on the clean channel with the boost and a very low setting on the clean volume. That is the trick sometimes. You have to use these controls, the volume and the gain, because a lot of sounds are hidden with the settings of these knobs. Okay guys, I think I'm super happy that we could have a real live stream today, having Lucas on vacation, which he also deserves, having Gunther. And hey, by the way, I have to introduce Gunther for a second, because maybe some of you guys know one of my very old but gold live DVDs, Guitar from the Heart, recorded live in Raalte. Here we can see, live in Raalte, Netherlands. And this was the beginning of my Thomas Blug band, featuring Thijs van Leer, Raoul Walton, Wolf Simon, with a lot of my instrumental music. And here's the story. Before that, I was doing some composing for television. I was doing soundtrack for a few series on television. And the producer had, of course, a camera team. And so I have done a lot of music, and sometimes it was like last minute music, because everybody was late. They had to shoot, and they already had the broadcasting dates. So I was forced to write the music overnight and probably get some fresh input, watching what the guys are filming. So I got an inspiration before I went to the TV station and got the cut, so I could compose the music to that. And by the way, this is probably where we met. Maybe we met even before, I don't even remember. we have to discuss after the live stream with a beer in our hands. But this is definitely a memory. And now back to my live DVD. This thing was recorded in the Netherlands, and the band only existed like for 3 concerts before what we recorded on this here. And all I said to the TV producer and his team, including Gunther, who is doing his first live stream today, hey, you come to the Netherlands, which is like a 5-6 hours drive from here, and we meet there, we play a concert, and they had no clue what to do, except for, there's a band we have to film. And Gunther was the man behind the camera on stage, and watch it. It's, if you have the Live in Raalte, it's still a great instrumental CD with killer Thijs van Leer, the guy from Focus, performances on the Hammond B3, the flute. And I think we captured some magic, and this was Gunther. And now he's back. Yeah. And the second thing I'm so happy about it, everybody was kind of telling me, your fucking laptop is not doing what it should. Your Apple laptop is not getting there. But we're still live, so we're still going strong. And here I have a few clips that we can simply show you if that would work, because this is a PC Dell, which I have no clue how this works. Hello. Good morning. This computer is it's coming back. Now I can see a screen.
I have no screen yet.
No screen yet. Anmelden, Thomas. Okay, I'm here. I'm good to go. And what I will do now is I will give you a bunch of videos that I have recorded at my place, in my living room, in my guest room. And these clips are simply MP1 nano cap, because this is what I use when I'm at home. So enjoy. What's going on here? With a little help from my friends. Stop. Okay. Yeah. So you will get a little collection of my clips, how I do sound at home at bedroom volume. Enjoy that, and see you next week, same place. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, and this will be my outro playing. Is the main, because this will be fucking loud for the neighbors now. Is the main volume? I will check something. So this is sub. I know how to do it. Wrong. Okay. I think this is the way to do it. I switch off sub. I have the main out. And this is my clip to say bye-bye. Enjoy my home playing, homeschooling. See you next week. Cheers. And now this is what was my birthday present for Jimmy Page. And more.